Hi everyone, welcome to our next PMB HDR student update. It's now August, time has flown. Just got a few things I want to talk to you about. The first of those is money. Naturally, as students, you travel or incur minor expenses in the course of your studies, and you need to make a reimbursement. Now, the university's been increasingly moving to online processes for reimbursements and using a system called Appian. Now, if you're a staff member of the university, many of you are through casual employment, most likely in teaching, you can access the Appian system through the staff login portal. So in brief, that's where you access it through. Appian is the system that they're now using for these online processes and forms. You need receipts, and you do also need a copy of your credit card or bank statement. So just, you can blank out the account numbers and so forth, but that's a requirement. And also attach an email from your supervisor supporting their reimbursement claim. Now, for those of you who aren't staff members, you won't be able to access the form, in which case you can complete a hard copy form, and if you need some help with this, contact our research admin team and at the usual email address, or for those of you who know where Hattie and Kirsty are located in the Reed building, you can do that. All right, so that's reimbursements for expenses that you incur. Quick reminder that funds to support your travel, up to $2,000 from within across the course of your candidature, are sitting as funds with your supervisors. Now, some of you would have already expended these funds and others will have not. So that's a conversation you need to have with your supervisor. It can be tricky to talk to your supervisor. Sometimes it can be a little bit scary. You may feel like you can't have that conversation, and if you are in that situation, you should talk to your research degrees coordinator about that. But there is the support available to assist with your travel. It won't pay for probably everything that you do with your travel, and you should avail yourselves of other travel support schemes, and many supervisors also contribute other research funding to that sort of travel. So just a reminder there. Something that is quite important that some people may not be aware of is that when you submit your thesis, we're talking about at the very end, you do need to acknowledge your scholarship. And most people do say, oh no, I had the benefit of a scholarship, but we have to specifically use some wording to thank the Commonwealth Government for those who are on a Commonwealth Government scholarship of some kind, and that's pretty much all of you, either through a fee waiver or fee waiver plus stipend, that you have to use words to the effect of, I acknowledge the support of the Commonwealth Government through a Research Training Program scholarship. So those words, Research Training Program and Commonwealth, are quite important. So do make sure that you do that in your thesis. I've had to send back a few just for students to do that. Quite irritating step, but it is a requirement and we need to adhere to it. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the research proposals. So for those students who are doing their research proposals this year, so those who are going through it for the first time, of course you only go through it once, I've heard a few struggles with the reference list. And in the format for the research proposal, it says you've got one page. And some students are citing upwards 50, 60 references for their research proposal, which I was a little bit surprised about, but that's fantastic across the literature. How do we fit that into one page? Surely we can have more. So I was thinking about it, thinking, oh, well, why not have more pages? But then, why not go to Vancouver? Not actual Vancouver, Canada, but using the Vancouver referencing system by which references are presented numerically in the text and then appear in the order of numerical order in the reference list at the back, which shortens which can shorten the overall text of the document. There's other ways to shorten the reference list into a single page. You could use a two-column system, abbreviate the style of the reference. There's nothing that says you have to have all of the authors and the journal titles in full in your reference list. Look at how a lot of journals do it. They'll fit squillions of references into quite small spaces. So, look at what you're reading, look at the papers you're reading and see how they do it. It's a good exercise for you as a student to develop. And I don't mean to make it onerous, but it's really a skill. many of you would be using a reference management software such as EndNote, and but there are other ones around. I think Mandalay is another one, so we do encourage the use of that kind of software. All right, that's all I want to say to you on this occasion, and stop listening to this and go and collect some data.